Recording in progress.
Okay. Recognizing a quorum, the chair opens the June 9th, 2025 meeting of the Community Housing Committee. This meeting is being broadcast live and recorded. Take a roll call for those in attendance. Myra?
Here.
Aye.
Greg?
Here.
Drew?
Here.
John, yes. And Deirdre?
Here.
First topic is minutes. We have minutes from the January 21st and the May 21st meetings. I don't know if people have had a chance to review them, maybe not, but
We can table them. I just gave them to you.
okay.
You want to do that?
I'm almost done.
Okay.
It's all coming
Myra
back to
and
me.
Tom, do you have, do they have copies of them?
I emailed them to them a little, like at 2:30.
I didn't have any comments personally, but
I don't have any comments myself.
Greg?
I don't have any comments worth bringing up here at the meeting.
Myra or Palm?
Yeah, there was one spelling mistake, and that was it. I don't remember which one it was, but it was just Joanne. It was spelled Joan.
Okay.
But that's the only one I remember right now.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes.
I second.
Roll call, Myra?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Drew?
Aye.
John? Yes. Deirdre?
Aye.
Okay, next item is committee assignments.
Oh, okay. So, I thought Lee would be here. I don't think she's online. So, it's kind of time to think about representative to the Community Preservation Committee. I think Lee had expressed that she wanted to pull back from that. So I didn't know, but she kind of wanted to have somebody attend the meetings with her. Are you on it? You're on it.
Yeah, but I'm from the Housing Authority.
Oh, you're on the Housing Authority, all right. So if there's somebody interested in being part of the Community Preservation Committee, we should have you go to a couple of meetings to see if it's a good fit. That's the only one, because so Drew is on there from the Housing Authority. Greg is all set as the Home Consortium, our representative to the Home Consortium. So the only other group that we attend is Community Preservation.
Any interest?
How about you, Palm?
I'm not sure.
Well, it's, I don't know what kind of time you have, but it's an extremely interesting committee because it disperses a large amount of funds each year for projects that are brought to it each year. Are you familiar with that concept of what it does?
Not specifically that
Right.
board, but
Yeah,
yes.
it's like towns opt into it, and it's funded by a surtax on the property tax. And local groups in housing and in open space, affordable housing, open space, recreation, and what am I missing?
Open space recreation,
And
historic,
historic
and historic.
preservation.
Yeah.
Any project that falls into that basket, like, may be funded by the Community Preservation Committee, and those things are voted on at town meetings for approval, for appropriation.
When do they meet?
And they meet, they meet sort of seasonally, like there's a season when, I'm just learning this myself, when lots and lots of proposals for projects come in and must be considered and voted upon, and that season is leading up to the town meeting, you know. So this is like a low season, and
So
and it's like more than once a month, you know.
for the rest of the year?
Yeah.
Once the applications come in,
Yeah.
depending on how many applications they get, sometimes they'll get 3, sometimes they'll get 20.
Right.
So if you get a lot of applications, you are meeting weekly, starting anytime after September 1st through January 15th.
That's
So
it.
it is a lot of work. They do meet by Zoom. I mean, you can meet in person or by Zoom, but it's difficult to have every meeting by Zoom. It's like, you have to go to these meetings in person to hear the presentations.
When do they meet?
3 o'clock on Wednesdays.
Pardon?
3 o'clock on
3
Wednesdays.
o'clock on Wednesdays?
Once a month, and then it speeds up when you get closer to town
Oh,
hall.
yeah.
It's very intense, yeah. Like when I walked into it, they were in the middle of finalizing their approval of like approximately 6 requests, all of which were voted on at the last town meeting that we had at the end of April, right? Yeah.
Yep, so the applications are due in September, right, late August by mid-September, depending on how staff kind of fits all the schedule in. And then I think that they go over the applications and then they start to schedule presentations.
That's right, yeah.
Then they might have a follow-up meeting with the applicants, and then they meet to vote. So imagine if you got 20 applications, how much work that is.
That's 3 meetings right there, times 20 is 60, so that's a lot.
60 agenda items.
So I'm not saying yes, and I'm not saying no. It's something I'll think about, because it does sound kind of fascinating. I've actually presented one of those way back in the day and got the funding, and it was interesting to go through the process and put the information together. So it would be kind of cool to be on the other side of that. You can say no to people, right? No, I'm not giving you any money.
Yes.
Usually what they do is they reduce the amount.
It's usually the amount of that.
Like, usually it's
It
like,
sounds interesting. I might be interested too.
How many of the applications at the last town meeting were approved?
I think 6 was the number.
6 out of 6?
I don't remember the exact, you know, I walked in the middle of their final wrap-up of approving things, but I think there were 4 to 6.
they very rarely reject something, like they'll reject something because it's not complete. And then they don't even vote that way. They send that application to the applicable staff person to work with that applicant to bring it up to speed. So for example, there was an application to start a group home. So they didn't want to take any action on it, so they sent me, the applicant.
Yeah, it seems like they always send you.
to kind of, you know, figure out really if there was a viable project. So it's a good, so if somebody had like a historic, you know, idea, and it came to them, they tend not to vote no, but take no action and they'd refer it to the historic staff. Do you know what I mean?
Would the next meeting be this week, this Wednesday?
Well, what I would suggest is that, Drew, next time you get an agenda,
Yeah,
you send it to John, Greg, and Pam.
okay.
You can zoom in or attend in person
I might
and just
attend the meeting
observe.
and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think you should, Lee, remember we sent Lee and she came back and said, hey, that was a lot of work. So I think you should know a little bit.
How many people in the committee?
Oh, 9?
Yeah.
It's a big committee. It's a big committee, and
It's a very serious commitment for the people that are on the committee, yeah.
It sounds so interesting, but I just don't think I could handle it right
they're
now.
doing LCP work.
See, and this is pursuant to a state law called the Community Preservation Act that allows towns to opt into this. And so it's all regulated by the state, and, you know, like it's mandated that a representative from the community, from the housing authority, is part of it. And it's other mandates for who is supposed to be part of it. And then some people are appointed directly to the committee. And the agendas and minutes are posted just like for this committee or all the other committees on the website, yeah.
And you have a staff person,
Right.
Dawn Marie Flett.
Anne-Marie Flett,
Yeah.
who does lots and lots of work.
Say something.
Pardon?
John,
Yes?
could I say something?
Sure.
I'm not going to be able to do that because of being on the trust, but I would just really encourage people to take a really serious look at being on that committee. It is the most educational experience, and you just get to know all sorts of things about what the town is doing. You get really familiar with the Community Preservation Act. You have a lot of conversations with town council. I mean, it's a lot of work, but boy, is it interesting. So that's my pep talk for joining that Community Preservation Committee.
Okay.
Okay, does that sound like a plan, Drew?
Yep.
So you'll share your agendas with John, Greg, and Pam. I'll let Lee know.
Next meeting is when?
I don't know if it's been set.
I'm not sure, but I'm looking it up now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, old business, Habitat for Humanity neighborhood at 1121 Route 28 South Yarmouth update.
Yep, so I'm just about to send a request to the town manager's office to get on the select board's agenda. That document that you approved with amendments, we need to bring that, the Habitat needs to bring that to the Board of Selectmen for review and approval. So there's two ways they can do it. They can do a formal presentation or put it under consent agenda. But I bet it will be a formal presentation. So I haven't reminded Habitat to give us the final draft for John to sign, because there was a few amendments that we wanted.
Yep, just let me know when
Yep.
you have it. I'll stop by.
May I make an addition to what we were saying before about the next meeting will be on Wednesday, June 18th, 3 p.m. But they say we need to have an executive session during the meeting to discuss a possible project. So I suppose that means that a visitor couldn't attend that part of the meeting, right? Is that what that
Correct.
means? Yeah. And
Sometimes they do the executive session at the beginning, sometimes they do it at the end.
right.
We won't know until
I'll
the
keep you
agenda.
updated on
Yeah.
that particular thing.
Okay. And that's at 3 o'clock
Yes.
in this room?
Usually in the upstairs meeting room.
Usually it's in room A, all the way to the,
Also by Zoom though, right?
you
Sure,
can,
yeah.
you can zoom in. They do a wonderful job zooming that meeting.
Okay. Mattakees Utilization Project. Presentation to the Select Board and the survey.
Yep, so when I emailed you out the agenda, I sent you links to the presentation and a link to the survey. So that was it. I didn't, there's really nothing, I could have printed out a lot of stuff, but
Who is doing the presentation to the Select Board?
it was the MUC committee.
It's the committee is presenting it to the Select Board?
Yeah, they already did it, right, Sharon?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
And it's really just an update as to the last time we met them, which was January 7th, to update what we have done since that date to the time that we're meeting with them. And the major thing, of course, was reporting that everybody had now submitted their preferred plan. So we're kind of entering a different period of time, a transition for our committee to not be just the listeners and the observers, but now to start to have well, continue to have conversations, and also to identify additional information that we may need. And we also introduced our consultant, which is the BSC group. And so she also, Heather Gould, who is our contact, was able to introduce herself. And we both are very thrilled that the survey now is out. It came out, I believe, I forget the date. It was a Thursday evening, I believe, of last week. No, maybe the prior week. But anyway, we hope you will fill it out. And so we're on our way. It will last until June 30th. And then we'll also have a public outreach session on July 15th. And the consultant will be helping us do that. And we have a meeting tonight at 6 o'clock, which we'll start having those conversations. And we may have additional questions for you although your group has done a wonderful job in terms of providing us a lot of information. So we will see at the end of the meeting if we have some additional questions for you. And if we can get through everything, because we certainly want to keep talking about public outreach. That's been something that's been on our minds right from the beginning. So.
And that's in your email too. There's a save the date towards the end of the email. For Tuesday, July 15th at 6 p.m. here in this room, that's going to be the Matakees Community Workshop.
Okay, on the 15th.
That Sharon July 15th.
Yeah, if I went on the website, there's a lot of great information on the website. All the reports are there, from recreation to economic development to, and I filled out the survey today before coming over here, but a lot of good information there. Okay, new business?
None.
None. Reports and action, chair's report, I don't have anything. Home consortium?
I got a few things. The last home consortium meeting was on May 15th. And there are a number of things that were talked about. Mary was in the meeting. The current administration has proposed ending funding and eliminating future funding for the home consortiums and community development block grants, but nothing's been determined at this point. At one point, we were told that there had been no determination on the annual funding, but that came through after the meeting. The funding from HUD for FY25 is $408,651.14. FY26 is $404,489.63. So for the next 2 years, anyway, there'll be funding. The Barrett Planning Regional Pilot Program, the county is taking the lead on that, and there is a proposal for, request for proposal in the works. 13, possibly 14 of the 15 towns in the Cape are on board with it, at about a cost of $5,000 per town. And then lastly, the meeting for June this week is canceled. The next meeting will be in July.
Yarmouth Housing Authority.
Nothing new has happened since our last meeting, I don't think. I think you all know the latest. Yeah, there's no changes of significance to report.
Okay. Affordable Housing Trust?
So I'll go first, Myra. So we meet next on June 17th. And so we're still working on a response to a request for proposals for up to $500,000 to acquire land. And we have an interested party who put in a response and has been working with staff to take a proposal that was going to be, I think, a 24-unit Chapter 40B and converting it to a mixed-use development with 11 residential units and 2 commercial units. Working hard with our town planner, Kathy Williams, and our building commissioner, Mark Grills, to kind of take it from something that doesn't comply with zoning and something that's using our zoning and supporting our mixed-use vision for Route 28. So it's very exciting. So it was rated highly advantageous, so now they got to negotiate the money. And that will happen on June 17th. And then we have money. We got $600,000 from town meeting, so we need to program that out for next fiscal year. So there'll be a little bit of that.
Where on Route 28 is that located?
645.
645.
Yeah,
Where's-
it's a blighted property.
Nice.
It is. It's. I mean, I shouldn't say that.
Well, look,
It's
my
a
stance
gray
on blighted
field. It's
properties is
underutilized. A blighted is actually a legal term, you know. But
Grayfield?
Where is 645?
it's in West Yarmouth. It's kind of close to the. You'd recognize the building in a minute. It used to be a yellow Chinese
Oh, yeah.
restaurant, and it has this. I think the reason why people don't see it is because it has a big, overgrown bush in front of it.
Oh, yeah, okay, I know that building.
Right? But if you see the side, it has such unique architecture. There's no word for that profile of that building. It goes straight up, straight across, diagonally down, and then it obviously was added on. I think there was a balcony up there for a while. But what's nice about it, it's within walking distance of the new Boardwalk Park. So it could be something really great, a great place to live. So, yeah. So that's next week. Anything else, Myra?
No, I just reiterate that the board members were really enthusiastic about this plan, definitely. We did add a accessibility request to one of the units.
Thank
But other
you.
than that, sounds great.
They did put that in, but we can't quite figure it out. So, but it's okay that the trust can say, yep, keep going. We'll help you buy the property, and then we'll sign an agreement with them that when they've figured all the different aspects, the details about the accessible unit, they bring it back to the trust before they go get their building permit. But yeah, they did name the accessible unit, but I can't tell exactly what that means with respect to the bathrooms and the door, but we'll figure that out next week.
Planning board?
We keep working on that local comprehensive plan. It's, the BSC is working on the current draft, and they're going to be sending it to review by the commission in a couple of weeks. And we had a very interesting presentation about all the regulatory issues and the Route 28 focus on the districts, the special planning districts, special zoning districts, and ways that the regulatory process could be simplified a bit to make permitting less onerous. Then we had a second presentation by the union consultants about the mixed-use planning, some fascinating potential structures and parking lots for the 1, 2, and 3 acre possible parcels, and a lot of discussion of how to work in the number of stories and units and parking spaces, and both of those projects are moving along, and I don't know, were there any other major points?
So regarding Union Studio and the mixed use
Yeah.
work, right? So they decided to take theoretical lots and present illustrative, designs. This is what you could do under our zoning, right? So if there's, the desire to actually pick an address, right? The money for that work came from the state, and there was a little bit of money set aside by the Affordable Housing Trust to help with that work. The state's money has to be spent by June 30th. All right? So, but the trust's money does not. So if you find yourself in the position, and the trust might find themselves in that position, that they're like, okay, this is great, this is illustrative, these are theoretical lots, why don't we, look at 3 real-life lots, So if you find yourself in that position, if the planning board wants to go that direction, I think that the Affordable Housing Trust would be a good partner for that. We could get some.
Next 2 weeks.
No. This is like after June 30th. This is after June 30th. Because some money, the award ends by a certain date, the day of the fiscal year. But other money, like the trust, it can roll over to the next year. So if we find that this is really, if people like the work that's coming out of this study for mixed use and want to then, pick an address and see, you know what I mean? And do some work on that address to show what that address would look like. The Affordable Housing Trust may support that with their funds. Because they've already set aside some money towards this stuff, so. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Community Preservation Committee?
So that's Lee, but,
Please thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now, they got all, I was just reminiscing about the town meeting, they got all their articles approved. And as long as we were talking about it, the articles include, the projects that were appropriated at the town meeting include for the Affordable Housing Trust, Hands of Hope, that was housing.
yep,
And there were recreation projects that included a redo of the playground at the Station Avenue Elementary School, a player safety project for the ball field for the YD Red Sox to improve certain aspects of that ball field. The Chasebrook Park master plan was, they've
Wow.
been partially funding that the whole time, and that's being consolidated into one big park. You know how there's 2 parks there along?
Yeah.
That's all gonna be one big park, and there was funding for that process. Let's see, there's more. Historic preservation, I forgot about all the stuff they were funding for that. Repairing the South Yarmouth Methodist Church, historic signage that they're putting up. Ancient cemetery grave marker preservation, that's like an ongoing thing they've been funding. The town has, or there's going to be funding for a Revolutionary War monument up at Thatcher Park up on Route 6A. That's going to have a listing of all the persons, I suppose it's probably all men, who volunteered to be in the Revolutionary War Army. That's a pretty big, it's a great big thing with a statue and stuff.
Yeah.
The Friends Meeting House is being fixed up, and the Cultural Center of Cape Cod is having an indoor, I believe, an indoor lift for human beings. It improves access.
Right.
And it's done under the rubric of historical preservation. So those are the things that were funded by the Community Preservation Committee.
I don't get an opportunity to say this often, and since you brought up the Revolutionary War, we recently
Yeah.
found out that we have a family member who fought at Lexington Concord, so. Joseph
cool.
Wheeler, so,
There you go.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's cool.
Community
Did they live in
development?
Yarmouth at that time?
Framingham.
Okay, all right, because I know the historic
I'm
people are
trying to
gonna.
think how I can get his name on the memorial somehow. He vacationed down here back in the day.
He had a vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
Community development,
No report.
okay. Upcoming meetings, July 14th, August 11th, at 3 o'clock in the hearing room. And any other business to discuss?
Just real quick, I got an email last week, Mary, about conflict of interest. Is that an annual thing? You have to take those courses? Okay.
Yep, so you should all be signed up with the AG's office for conflict of interest training. And so when you need to redo, you should get an email. Now, it could be every year or every other year, right? So typically what happens is they tell the town clerk, hey, we're going to be sending out emails to everybody. She sends it all out to staff and then asks everybody to give that reminder to all the committee members, just in case it goes to spam or junk mail. The other thing, I did the training, right? When you go on there, when you log in, you see the training, and then to the right, there's like this thing that's like certificate. You got to do both. One is the training, the other one is recording your certificate. So I was getting these emails going, you haven't completed it. And I'm like, yes, I did. And I went online and it's the thing over to the right. I never clicked. And I think, for me at least, that was important because I think my town clerk got that, so.
So you take the hour course, you do
Take
whatever
the hour
quiz they
course
have,
and you think you're done.
and then you click on certificate, and I remember doing that, okay.
Yeah. Way at the top page, there's two buttons you have to go, there's two modules you have to go in. And one is like 30 seconds because you're just confirming that you completed it. It's good. It's good.
It's all good.
Any other business? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I moved that we adjourn.
I second the motion.
We have
It's like the shortest meeting ever on record.
Pretty short.
Sometimes I can't help myself, Drew.
we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Can I get a roll call? Myra?
Aye.
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Drew?
Yes.
John? Yes? Deirdre?
Yes.
Thank you.
That was short.
It was.
It's the shortest meeting we've
Aye.
had since I've been on the board, I think.
Bye.
Bye.